Welcome, everybody, to Pastor's Perspective. We are here live, ready to talk to you on this Tuesday afternoon. Give us a call. The phone lines are open. 888-564-6173 is the number. You already know that number. I say it 52 times a day. About 52 times a day, it seems like it. 888-564-6173 is the number to call. We are also on Facebook and YouTube. Hello to those of you watching there. You see the number there on the bottom of your screen. Give us a call. 888-564-6173. And in the studio with me today, Brian Broderson, the senior pastor of Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa in Southern California. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing all right.
Good to see ya. And on the Bobby Cam, we've got author and apologist Dr. Bobby Conway from the One Minute Apologist channel on YouTube. He's also the pastor of Image Church in Charlotte, NC, North Carolina. How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing so good. I'm just loving the view behind Brian with the nice Southern California culture while it's pitch black here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ooh, it's probably not much better in Newport News, Virginia then. Tony Clark is the pastor there, and he's joining us via Skype. How are you, Tony?
Good. Yes, Virginia is dark as well.
Mm-hmm. I see a shadow behind you. That has nothing to do with how dark it is in Virginia or North Carolina.
That's not fun, I can tell you that.
I'm sorry, what? You're breaking up.
I said that's not from the sun in the sky.
Oh,
I can
got
tell
it.
you.
Okay, we seem to be having a connection problem. Can you maybe move into another room?
Okay, let me.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and... Okay, very good. So 888-564-6173 is the number to call with your questions today on Pastor's Perspective. Got Brian and Bobby and Tony here till 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Sure, you got room for one more. You got room for one more.
Surprise!
What a look at that.
Yes.
Tony Clark is in the studio with us today.
Crashing the party. Great doctor.
Yes.
I'm looking at that view as well. That is a wonderful view. And I happen to be walking outside in it. It's a great day.
I thought to myself for a moment, what is that ghastly background behind Tony? And so I'm so thankful. They just need to throw. There you are.
We had him hiding in a closet over here. And
so this was all planned.
I didn't know about it till 20 minutes ago. I walked out of one of the studios here, and there he was. Janice is here as well. So.
Well, I was thinking, as I was looking at you in that picture, I was thinking, there's a conference out here. I wonder if Tony's out here. I wonder if he's in a hotel room or something. But he was closer than a hotel room.
Much closer.
Yes.
Yep.
Much closer. Yes. I wanted to come.
He's actually staying at K-Wave tonight. He's just gonna,
I'm telling you, I am in SoCal. Nothing can be better than that.
Well, this is crazy, too, because Tony and I sat closer than this for a week straight in New York City a week and a half ago.
So it sure
just
did. It was a great time. I was like a kid sitting next to my dad.
How fun.
It was great.
Yeah, it's a great time.
It's good
great
to see
time.
you.
Yes.
I didn't. Yeah. It's just like, did you just suddenly decide to come, or were you coming already?
No, I just suddenly, I wanted to support Troy.
Yeah.
Wanted to be in front, just cheer him on,
Yeah, Troy Warner, our friend, is speaking at a conference this week. He was actually here at church on Sunday morning, so we had to...
Oh, was he?
Yeah, we got to connect. We were going to have coffee on Monday with Rebecca and Troy, but Cheryl had a incident with
how's she doing?
Vertigo. She's doing better, thank God. But oh my gosh, it was insane. It was midnight. All of a sudden,
you were supposed to have an extra hour of sleep on Saturday night.
I completely missed the 2021 fallback.
Yes,
it was like that didn't do anything for me. We spent the night in the ER, and yes, thank God she's doing better. And it looks like she just got a infection, inner ear infection. Gotcha. Antibiotics will take care of it. So
good.
Yeah.
Good.
So quite a few days here.
Yeah.
It's been kind of wild.
Yeah. To say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today it's going to be Tony who's bragging about the sunshine and everything else, almost like telling Bobby, take that while you're there in the dark in North
Bobby
Carolina.
comes out here for a week and just loves it. So I have to take up my little time that I have.
That's right.
Now, speaking of Troy.
Enjoy it, baby.
Troy, his church is the one who has, what is the station?
Something FM. Grace FM.
Oh, Grace FM.
No, that's Ed
Equip.
Taylor.
Equip.
Equip
FM.
Yes.
Got it.
So
Okay.
for those calls we get from Virginia and that region,
Yes.
they are connected through the ministry with Troy.
Yeah, they sure are.
So is that the Lynchburg Church?
Yep.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Calvary Chapel, Lynchburg. Troy and our offices were right next to each other when we were on staff.
Nice.
In Vista. Yep.
Nice. All right. 888-564-6173 is the number. Bobby's holding up his phone. Are you trying to take a selfie or an ussy? What are you doing there?
I'm just letting you know to let me in.
I haven't let you in yet.
me
You
be a
can't
part
see
of the program.
any of the questions that are on the
Those you can be
screen
part of
here.
the program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going to make you feel like part of the family here. But
Well,
I
we
did.
got
There
one of
we
our
go.
favorite topics to discuss is right up on the top here.
Do we really want to go there?
It could lead us back into Boss Baby, but I told Brian beforehand, I'm moving on from Boss Baby. I'm now into Peppa Pig because I just spent 2 hours with Remy watching Peppa Pig. So I'm ready to go.
Peppa
Yeah.
Pig.
It's funny because
All right.
we were driving in Irvine and we heard you guys talking about all this stuff and I was cracking up. It was yesterday.
Yesterday's
but
program, yeah.
It was pre-recorded,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I was cracking up. I said, oh, boy.
Yeah.
But I'm on the grandpa side.
Yeah.
I'm on the grandpa side. Got to be on that side.
That's all right.
888-564-6173 is our number. And sure, let's go to Douglas in Alabama. Hey there, Douglas. Did you listen to yesterday's program?
Yes, I did. I didn't get quite a good answer behind that. What the grandpa and little ones and stuff. I'm trying to think that God knows exactly what we are going to be, and I'm wondering that the babies, when they get to heaven, they're going to be fully formed, and like all of us, when we got our glorified bodies.
Well, that's what we discussed for a long time. And so you didn't really, the grandpa theology wasn't really answering it for you, huh?
Resonating.
Well, Doug, I think that, that's about the best we're going to do on that one.
Let's get Tony's perspective because we didn't have Tony on yesterday's program, so maybe he can offer something.
So
a little
you
bit
heard
different.
it.
But
So
you
you
did
did.
hear
Yeah,
it.
I heard what you got. I caught the tail end of it. But yeah, we just don't know. That's the immediate answer. We just don't know, the whole thing. I heard a little bit about David, you shall not come to me, but I shall go to him, and just how children be able to grow up? How much would they grow up? Would they grow up and hit maybe 30 years of age and stop? I don't know. The Bible doesn't give us, any clarity on that. And I guess that's one of the mysteries we would, kind of embark on, throughout eternity. But the Bible just doesn't say.
Yeah.
So anything we say would just be speculation and trying to grab a couple of verses. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We just got off into some wild speculations. It all kind of started when Phil Metzger shared that his daughter, when she heard somebody say they're going to be 30, and she's like, 15. She's like, I don't want to be 30. Why do I have to be
I don't want to be
30?
30 in heaven. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not going to be cool.
So that's what got us going.
That's because she's not glorified.
But Tony, I mean, we ended up just we were just goofing off, having a lot of fun. But Tony's absolutely right. I mean, that's the bottom line is we don't know.
Yeah.
And so we can have fun and speculate.
Yeah.
We can't be dogmatic because we don't know.
Yep.
So.
No.
All right, Douglas, hope that does it once and for all here on Pastor's Perspective, 888-564-6173. Let's go to Darnell with a question about Revelation chapter 3. Hi, Darnell, calling from California. How can we help you?
Hey, may Christ bless you, gentlemen. I don't know if you guys ever played basketball, but when you're hot, that means you're making like your shots. And when you're cold, that means you're missing all your shots. And if you're lukewarm, that means like you're missing some, making some. So I don't understand Revelation 3:15 and 16, where it says, I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would that thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But why would Jesus want us to be cold instead of like at least making some, missing some?
Brian?
Well, yeah, we know about the basketball analogy. I've been on the court with Tony when he was on fire. Hot was not even an accurate description. And he's been on the court with me when I was cold. Cold. Just couldn't buy a basket. So we get it. We totally get it. But you know what? I just heard somebody preach on this a week ago Sunday, and what they said, I think, is the absolute right answer to this question. The issue is hot water and cold water are both useful. Lukewarm water is useless. And Jesus, that's what he's talking about. And I think I heard a preacher say that. And I thought that's it. Because I have, after 40 years of teaching, still wondered, like, what is the hot and cold thing? You know, I mean, because surely Jesus doesn't want us to be cold, right?
Right.
But what he's talking about is usefulness. So and you know, of course, if you understand the background with the church there in Laodicea, you had the water that flowed down from these hot springs, and it would reach Laodicea, and it would be lukewarm. And that was, that's like, when you have a cup of tea and it's lukewarm or something like that. Yeah. So I think usefulness is really what Jesus is referring to there.
Because we're so used to hearing terms like, we got to be hot for the Lord, we got to be on fire for the Lord. So we just think cold is the opposite. And Tony, anything to add?
They understood this. Just what Pastor Brian was saying. The hot springs in Laodicea, and about the time the water got to Colossae, it was cold. I mean, once it hit Laodicea, it was lukewarm, and once it got to Colossae, it was cold. And so they understood the poor engineering of that particular time. And so to hear hot, cold, lukewarm, they were like, we get this. But you're right. The reason why lukewarm is so bad, because lukewarm, here it is the compromise between hot and cold. And it is a person whose life is compromised, who is compromising in some areas of their lives, and they became lukewarm spiritually. And that person, I mean, these are very graphic terms here that Jesus uses. That person sits very sour in the stomach of Jesus, to where he said, I will spew you out. That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy, but definitely what Pastor Brian said was right.
Yep. Darnell, does that help you?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's more like water versus basketball. Thank you so much.
The Bible doesn't have very many basketball
We do know the basketball analogy, though. And Tony and Bobby know the baseball analogy of that, too, the pitching analogy. Bobby knows that. Yeah. He knows when it's like to be on fire pitching, and then he knows what it's like to be so cold that he throws the ball over the backstop.
He brought it up, Bobby. He went there.
But isn't that just humiliating?
But I was actually a better baseball player than I was basketball player.
I knew that. Yeah,
and so baseball analogy fits well with me. Also, yeah.
We got to get Bobby and Tony on the diamond then, see if Bobby can try to strike him out, or vice versa.
That's not happening.
That's not going to happen.
Right now. I still got a little bit left. That's not happening. It's funny. I would go to the batting cages.
I couldn't do it.
And each time I would go to the batting cage just to make sure I still have it, someone would try to recruit me for their semi-pro team.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I still got just a little bit left. Yeah. But that was some time ago, though, when I last been in the batting cage.
Now, Janice has Atlanta is her roots, right?
No, Gary, Indiana is her roots. We grew up together.
Oh, you grew up together.
And then
her family moved to
Yes, her family, after I was in the Marine Corps, moved to Georgia.
Okay.
You know.
So were you guys cheering for the Braves?
No. But I was happy for him.
Yeah.
I really was, because their best player, Acuna, got hurt mid-season. He was their best player, and then their number one pitcher got his leg broken in Game 1 of the World Series. A line drive right up the middle hit his leg. He pitched 16 more pitches, and then had to go out and found out his leg was broken.
Wow.
Crazy.
Well, Bobby, did you have a horse in the race of the World Series? Were you interested at all?
Nope, not a bit. Not a bit.
Yeah. Me neither. But for some reason, I was, there was a TV around, so I kept kind of turning it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know why. I mean, I couldn't care less about the Astros, but for some reason I was kind of rooting for them. I don't even know why, because I don't particularly like or dislike the Braves.
People are still a little upset at the Astros.
I was going to say.
A couple of years ago, cheating to win.
Okay.
So people are still a little
Well,
upset.
I didn't know that, so I didn't know that background. I would have been totally against it if I knew they were cheating.
That's why they're known as the Houston Asterisks, because they're going to say that they're going to put that in the record books that they won, but
I heard
and
I
they
heard a
cheated
little
the
bit of that,
Dodgers.
but I didn't.
See, that's
they cheated the Dodgers.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's Dodgers are saying that World Series should have been ours.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure Ed Taylor, David Gusick, and
And David Trujillo.
others would weigh in on that.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not even a Dodgers fan, but I was rooting for Atlanta just because that ain't right. You can't do that in baseball. There's no cheating in baseball.
No.
Well, there shouldn't be anyway. Mary in California, you are on Pastor's Perspective with Brian Broderson, Bobby Conway, and Tony Clark. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for taking my phone call. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
there is a lot of background noise, but we'll try to put up with it as long as we can.
All right.
Sound like she's
let me
driving.
try to change this. So, I really appreciate your guys' program and all the advice that you guys give. I have a teenager daughter. She is the oldest of 3, and I am calling to ask for some type of advice. She is just brought up the subject of dating. When can she start dating? And is there anywhere in the Bible that states or talks about dating?
How old is your daughter, Mary?
16.
16. Yeah, she's still too young. That's just my opinion. Bobby, what would you say?
There's a couple thoughts. First off, in the Judeo-Christian culture, what you see as it relates to relationships is more of arrangement relationships.
Yeah.
And that's not even uncommon in certain parts of the world today, for example, in places like India. So in the Bible, what we see is, kind of the mom and the dad helping arrange a marital relationship. That's not our culture today, and I can understand why we wouldn't like that. But I would say there's principles by which we can relate to the opposite sex. And those can be the elements that we lay down for our kids to consider. So, for example, I think it's important that when we start engaging in a relationship with somebody, it should be an opposite sex relationship, because ultimately the Bible says that marriage is between a husband and a wife. Another principle would be that they should both be believers. You don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're dating somebody who could cause you to compromise your spiritual convictions. Another aspect would be making sure that you're abstaining from sexual promiscuity, and you're really just trying to build then a spiritual friendship. We recognize attraction and we say that's a good thing, but it has a place. And so I would say those would be 3 principles. Make sure that, first off, you're Christian. Second off, it's between a boy and a girl. And third off, that we abstain from all sexual temptation.
All right, let's check in with Mary, see what she thinks so far. Mary? She's silent. Tony, any thoughts?
No, I wanted to see if she had any more questions.
Yeah, maybe we'll check in one more time. Mary, are you there?
Yes, I am here. I've talked actually to her about those things, but it's just hard to convince her, I would say, because what she brings up is, well, I understand that, but I just can't get rid of my feelings towards this, young boy, and he likes me too. So it's just, and this is her first rodeo, so
Have you
we've
met?
been praying, and it's been challenging.
Have you met the young man, Mary?
I know him, but they're not Christians. That's the first thing. I know the parents aren't in agreement either.
Oh, really?
So it's just, yes. I just know that this is not going to turn out well, and I don't want her to get hurt. But at the same time, I don't know. It's a difficult topic for parents with young kids.
Yeah. Is there a father in the house, Mary? Is
Yes.
your husband? And what's his role in all this?
Well, he definitely has given her, and we've had conversations with her. She has no permission to date. But I think that as a father, it's really hard for him because he is a typical macho man that more than providing, explanations to the kiddos, he's like, no, this is my rule, and this is just not going to be allowed, and it's not happening. But I think with her, especially because it's a girl, we need to go in deeper and get into her heart so that she can actually realize that it's not age appropriate. It's not her time yet.
Does she have personal faith? Does she consider herself to be a Christian?
We are new to the faith. Our family is new to the faith. We're coming from a Catholic background.
Right.
But it's just, I guess, our society.
Yeah.
All her little friends are dating.
Sure.
All they see it's she's pretty much the only girl that is not allowed to date. All of her little friends are dating, so it's just hard to go against the society nowadays.
Yeah, that those are all very difficult kinds of things. The best angle to come at it from, I think, would be to just try to get her to understand that you're looking out for her best interest, which, of course, it's not easy to see that as a 16-year-old. You feel like you're just being held back, from so many good things. So, continue to pray about the situation. If you can get plugged into a youth ministry for her where she can meet some other kids who are her age and who are in the faith, that would be a good step as well. But these are the challenges that we go through as parents, and in a world where it's pretty much just a free-for-all. You do what you want, you do what you feel like is best for you, and all of the encouragement for everybody to resist being told what to do by any authority figure. I mean, this is a challenging time. So we would just encourage you to continue to pray for wisdom, pray for her, pray for protection, and just, that God, the bottom line is that God would really grab a hold of her so that she would want to do what he wants her to do. And that's the big thing there. So pray for that.
Yeah. Tony, did you want to throw anything?
Yeah, Proverbs 21:1 says, "The heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord like the rivers of water. He can turn it whichever way he wants to turn it." So you have to pray for your daughter's heart because, love has when I'm using this tongue in cheek, when Cupid shoots his arrow and in a 16-year-old, all she sees are those hearts in the air. And you guys forbid her to do this, forbid her to do that. She's going to sneak and do it. That's why I said pray for her heart. Pray that God get a hold of her, get her in with some other youth groups and things that will help keep her on the straight and narrow. And these are the lessons of life. Life has a way of putting us in a classroom, and it teaches us some valuable lessons. And as a parent, you don't want your kids to have to learn that way. You want to be able to teach your kids, and they learn the Word of God. But sometimes they have to learn some tough lessons, and that's the thing we want to guard our kids from, but we can't. So these are some lessons she may have to learn, but just pray that God get a hold of her heart so she doesn't have to learn by hitting rock bottom. And you as parents, just be there to pick up the pieces. That's what we do. As parents, just love on them, pick up the pieces, continue to try to guide them. And you guys get a little better grounded in the Word, because I would tell you the Song of Solomon, chapters 1 and 2, talks about the dating time and how to date, how to look for a shepherd king in a young man or someone to potentially marry. But, she's 16. Y'all just keep loving her, keep trying to get her plugged into the Word, but most importantly, pray for her heart.
Bobby, you recently walked your little girl down the aisle. What would you have told her? What advice would you have given her at age 16 if all her friends were dating, but she wasn't?
I mean, fortunately, I was able to give, my kids lots of advice in this way. I mean, I took my son Dawson when he was probably 12 or 11 with several of his other friends, maybe 13, and I discipled them on what the Bible has to say on sexual purity. So it was really a special time for several weeks. I'd have moms dropping their kids off at the church, and I would pour into them. One of the biggest things that I would say is to explain the why behind, the what. When we say what they need to do, if we don't give them the why, then we don't give them the motivation. And so it's really important that we establish the why. Just telling our kids to wait until marriage, they don't understand the value in that. There wasn't a more promiscuous kid in my high school than me. I was known for my promiscuity back in high school. And getting saved at 19, I had collected a lot of guilt along the way. But one of the greatest motivations for me and what I told my kids is I said, practicing purity in your relationships is a way to develop self-control. And that's going to be a much needed quality in your marriage. And so for me, I couldn't even stay faithful to girlfriends. I was so bogged down with lust that I had no idea how to handle my temptations, and I was cheating on my girlfriends all the time. And then what I ended up getting as a result of that was guilt. I was walking around trying to cover up my tracks all the time, getting busted, getting in trouble. And all this stuff just got so overwhelming. I was using drugs and alcohol to help comfort my guilt. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, literally getting caught, while I'm on an LSD trip, getting called out for my promiscuity, and then trying to explain my way out of that while I'm frying. I mean, this is not good. And God really got a hold of my heart and showed me that when I met Heather, how important it was for me to just date her, to pray with her, to connect her. And we waited for 2 years to consummate our relationship on our wedding night. And I cannot tell you how much I'm thankful to the Lord for that, because that gave her trust for me, knowing my checkered past. So I told the kids, I said, if you can't have self-control while you're dating, What makes you think you're going to have it in the context of marriage? This is the time to be able to build up that spiritual character that everybody needs. And I can tell you that there's so many married couples who know what it's like to experience the horrors of an affair because they didn't learn a foundation of building trust by being faithful and abstaining from sexual temptation.
Great conversation on this Tuesday afternoon on Pastor's Perspective. Mary, hope that helps you. Thank you for calling in today at 888-564-6173. We are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more of your questions. 888-564-6173. Brian Broderson and Bobby Conway answering your questions. And Tony Clark, too, because it's Tony Clark Tuesday, and Tony's here in the studio with us today. So glad to have him here. 888-564-6173. We'll talk to you guys in just a moment. We are back on Pastor's Perspective. Hi there. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Brian Perez. Pastor's Perspective, by the way, sponsored by Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa. And here in the studio with me, we've got Brian Broderson, the senior pastor of Calvary Costa Mesa. And Tony Clark is visiting. He is in town this week. Always good to have him in the studio with us. He's the pastor of Calvary Chapel, Newport News in Virginia. And on the Bobby Cam, we've got author and apologist Dr. Bobby Conway, who wishes he could be here with us. We do too. Tony and Bobby, you guys haven't even met yet, right? Like,
I don't think so.
No.
Nope.
Not in person.
Like
No,
two
but it's going to be
planes passing in the
bromance
sky.
when we meet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite a day.
You know, when
It's going to be wonderful.
Tony and I were together, like I mentioned, week before last in New York, and I think I said to you, Tony, at one point, I really want to get us three together on your side of the country.
You did say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to come. I want to come and hang out. I want to come and see Bobby and Heather and what you guys are doing, and go up and visit Tony. It's been a long, long time since I've been to.
It's been a long time.
You know, I was talking to Troy. We mentioned Troy earlier. He pastors Calvary Chapel in Lynchburg. And Tony and Troy both were pastors with me on staff in Vista, and we sent them. Joey Baran actually kind of pioneeered the way. Joey went out and planted a church in Virginia Beach area. But Troy said to me, he said, we wanted to have you come out for our 25th anniversary, but then COVID came. So now it's the 27th.
Yeah. Yes, it sure is.
Okay. Well, we'll try to get a way out there.
COVID
You guys need to
ruined
come
everything.
down, tag team preach for me, and we'll hang out. How about that? You guys tag team a message. Tony could talk about diversity. I could be talking about we're part of Calvary. You can be talking about what that means, kind of give a blessing to our church as we're getting things up and going. Come on now.
Well, see, look at that. Already you got it all planned out. I love it. I love it.
All we need are the plane tickets.
That's right, baby.
888-564-6173 is our telephone number. So give us a call, and let's see what is on your guys' mind. First of all, let's go to Daly in California with a question that only comes up on Tuesdays, it seems, probably because Tony is here, and it's his favorite question.
Oh, my goodness.
Daly, what did you want to know?
Hi, good afternoon. I just like to ask about the first book of Peter, chapter 3. That is it's between verse 18 to 22.
Yes.
I have a problem understanding it in the sense that in verse 19, it says that in which he went, I think it's Jesus who went down to the spirits in prison.
Yes.
Will it mean that I'm just trying to understand it. Does it mean that he went down and talked to them and preached, and did he convert them? Because the next verse was talking about baptism. So is it because of what he say? Did these people, did this spirit repent and accept him? Because initially they're talking about Jesus' resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
This spirit in prison.
Yeah.
I understand that Jesus. This is I'm new, so basically they're talking about triune. So basically, Jesus is there a long time ago. So for all you know, he was the one. I don't know when he went down. Did he went down after he died and became alive, or is it? This is my story.
Well, Daly, I want to commend you for thinking deeply on this verse. I mean, it sounds like you really are wrestling with it. And this is a verse that is notoriously difficult to understand. And if you read Bible commentators, if you read scholars, you're going to get a bunch of different opinions about what it's actually saying because nobody really knows exactly what it is talking about. Some people feel that it's talking about that because of the reference to those who were disobedient in the days of Noah, that it was through the Spirit Noah was preaching to the people at that time. And so when it refers to him having gone by the Spirit, they think that it was the Holy Spirit through Noah. Some people think that this is a situation, a unique situation, where the people who died in the flood, where they were preached to even after they died, because they hadn't really had a gospel proclamation made to them. And so some think that. And then some think that the spirits that Jesus is preaching to are evil spirits, and he's proclaiming his victory over them. He's declaring to them that he has conquered them. And there's probably a couple of other ideas about this too. So you guys...
Boss Baby is one of the other features.
Here we go again.
No, Boss Baby does not fit here, Bobby. This is don't try to insert the Boss Baby theology where it doesn't belong. But Tony, can you think of any other, or Bobby, can you think of any other perspectives on it?
Yeah, that. Go ahead, Bobby. I'll let you go, bro.
Oh, no. Go ahead, buddy. I know you love this passage, so
it seems to come up every Tuesday.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yeah, it does.
You know, I think the key to understanding it is, you know, it says the divine long suffering in the days of Noah. So it's something about spirits being in prison during the days of Noah. We know in 2 Peter 2:4, it said the angels that sinned were cast down to hell. And the Greek word for hell is Tartarus. It's a special place in hell that these spirits in the days of Noah did something. And I'm of the camp who believe that as Satan was told in Genesis 3:15 that he was going to, he was going to definitely crush the head, or get his head crushed, should I say. But he was told that in Genesis 3:15 that there was going to be a deliverer that was going to come and crush his head. So Satan planted a genetic virus into the human race through Genesis chapter 6, and they mingled with human women and had these weird offsprings to keep the seed of the woman from coming. Those angels that participated in that were cast down into this special place called Tartarus. Jesus on the cross, he told the thief, today you will be with me in paradise. They went down into that particular lower part of the earth, and Jesus proclaimed his victory over those demons that tried to put a genetic virus into the human race. And he proclaimed his victory to them. Also, those who were in what is called Abraham's bosom, he led captivity captive, gave gifts unto men, and he took them out of that compartment or paradise or Abraham's bosom, took them up into heaven. 2 Corinthians 12, verses 1-6 talks about that. And that's what I believe, took place. And last Tuesday when John was on, this kind of thing kind of came up again, that Matthew 27 verses 51-53, it says that when Jesus was resurrected, the graves were open and many of the saints appeared and went into the city and appeared to many, and it is believed that those in Abraham's bosom were taken out of there after the resurrection, and they appeared into the city to many people at that time. So that's what I have come to make sense of these particular verses. And there are fine scholars who disagree, and I'm okay with that at this stage.
So, Bobby, what's your best shot at this passage? If you're teaching 1 Peter on a Sunday morning and this is your text, what are you going to say?
That's when he's going to have Tony come in and tag team.
Yeah. I mean, one of my approach to Scripture always, and it's because I so appreciated this when I showed up at Dallas Seminary, having went to a very strict Bible college, I kind of felt like it was more of an indoctrination, except for this one professor who laid out the views. My tendency is I want people to not just hear my view. I want them to hear what is widely accepted within Christian, tradition. And so I tend to lay out the different views, and then I'll say what I think the strong points are and the weak points are. And I would say, after listening to what Tony said, Tony and I went back and forth about 2 months ago with the Sons of God and the Daughters of Men passage. And then I see how he brings us in right here to the flood, because that just comes right after it. And then when you pull in Enoch and just consider some that's there is a lot more to be said. It does seem bizarre and weird, some of the things that you hear Tony talking about, but then you go and you think about First Enoch and some of these things, you go, wow, maybe there's more to this, and Michael Heiser and some of the stuff that he talks about. So nevertheless, I am also the kind of person that will tend to be, after sharing those views, I'll kind of lean to something, but I don't really have a bone in the fight, so to speak. My fight then becomes more about the fighting for each of the different participants of the views to be respectful to one another, for us to be compassionate, and to not divide the church over it, because I'm highly driven and motivated by keeping the body of Christ motivated or unified, especially in areas where we're needlessly dividing. So that's how I'd answer that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's right. We're right back where we started. It's a very difficult passage, and you're going to get people who just have, very strong convictions. I think most people I know will say it's difficult, and even the things that you shared, Tony, which some of them I agree with. It's still complicated stuff, and Paradise, for example, Don Stewart used to host this program with us for years.
Oh, yeah.
And Don, there's the other place I think you even mentioned is 2 Corinthians. Paul refers to being caught up into paradise.
Yeah.
So for Don, there was no bosom of Abraham was not a temporary place. Paradise was the presence of the Lord. So he had a different take on that. Don was very, very hostile toward the idea that there was some sort of union between humans and fallen angels, So he definitely would go more with the idea that it was the sons of Seth. Or the sons of Seth, and
the daughters of Cain,
of Cain, and I think that what I see in the academic world a lot of times is there is a tendency to sort of naturalize everything. We don't because some of the stuff, like you said, Bobby, some of the stuff is weird.
Yeah,
it's weird stuff, but it is weird. It's good weird. And Russell Moore is famous for talking about the weirdness of Christianity. We believe in a dead person who rose again. That's weird. Mm-hmm. But there is weird stuff, and we shouldn't. I think we have to be careful. Now, Michael Heiser, you mentioned him, Bobby, but Michael Heiser is one of those guys who is an academic who would have leaned almost his whole career toward the naturalistic explanations. And then one day he has an epiphany. He sees something in a text that sends him in a complete different direction. So now Michael Heiser talks about all kinds of weird stuff. He's kind of. I was reading an article by him yesterday, as a matter of fact, thinking, okay, this is weird. But it's a spiritual world that we don't know everything about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So we have to just say, hey, I don't know. Could be this.
And there's a lot of academics out there way smarter than I am who hold to the sons of Seth and the daughters of Cain. It's like a believer marrying an unbeliever, and I just have problems with that. I said, because if the line of Seth was so godly, why is it that none of them were saved on the ark? If they were so godly. Mm-hmm. See, that's the first problem I have. Then the second problem I have is that, believer and unbeliever produce giants in Genesis 6:4. So, and the Greek word that's used in the Septuagint is where we get gigantos from. It's these monstrosities. It just wasn't some basketball player that can be in the NBA. No, they were very large beings. So I just, that kind of, it seems to want to strip the supernatural or that which is spiritual, like Pastor Brian was mentioning. There's a whole spiritual world that is just as busy as this physical world, and a lot of stuff that goes on that that we just clueless about.
Well, one thing I think is a bit of a clue is the something was so horrific that was happening on the earth that God destroyed the whole planet.
Yeah. He did.
So that's pretty significant right there in and of itself, So you'd have to say, okay, this would have to be something more than believers marrying unbelievers to get the whole planet and the whole race, destroyed.
Right.
But they also did it again afterwards, because in Genesis 6:4 it says that they did it, and also afterwards. That's how we got the Goliaths and stuff in the land of Canaan and that sort of thing. So they just didn't do it in Genesis 6, but they did it again afterwards. And God said, no, that's it. That's enough. Enough of that foolishness.
Well, Daly, thank you for your question. Brian, what do you tell Daly? Because she was probably calling, and she might even be more confused now than she was before. I mean, at what point do we say,
I think, Daily, I can tell you from 40 years of Bible study and teaching, there's some passages that you just have to say, I don't really know. I don't really know. I'm not going to solve this right now. And it's okay. There's plenty of other texts that are crystal clear that we can focus on and grow from. So, sometimes we just have to leave it for a later date. And we need more information. And we might get it, and we might not get it until we're with the Lord.
Yep. Yeah. So thanks for your phone call today, Daily, on Pastor's Perspective. 888-564-6173 is the number. Tracy hung up. Tracy, I was going to go to you next. Call back if you can. Instead, we'll go to John in California. Hey, John, how can we help you?
Good. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, thanks.
Hey, okay, so my question... Now, I know when Lazarus died, Jesus waited an extra day, which would make it 4 days, I believe. And from my research, I kind of see that as he waited the fourth day to make sure everyone knew that Lazarus was dead, because I think it was Jewish custom for 3 days. That way everyone says, oh, man, he really was dead. Now he's back to life. Mm-hmm. Now, my question with that would be, when Jesus rose on the third day, how come he didn't wait the fourth day? That way everyone knew, wow, Jesus really was dead for the 3 days, and he really is alive again. And I know there's some prophecy in that, but I don't know why we didn't just wait, or he didn't just wait for the fourth day.
Yeah, that reminds me of a question we had recently. Why did Jesus wait 3 days? He could have risen immediately. And what John is saying is he could have even waited more than 3 days. So, Bobby, we'll start with you. What would you tell John?
Well, John, you are correct that the 3 days you would be definitely considered dead. Jesus obviously ended up waiting 4 days, and that would be, total proof that Lazarus was dead. But the reason Jesus waited 3 days is because he decided to wait 3 days. And he prophesied that. That was just his plan. I suppose he could have waited 10 days or 20 days. So I think that this would be hypothetical of me to guess really a lot beyond that, in that he said that he's going to be betrayed, he's going to be buried. 3 days later, he's going to rise from the dead. Just as Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days, 3 nights, so too will the Son of Man. And so he is leveraging Scripture. He prophesies what he says. And then not only that, what you have with Lazarus and Jesus ends up being different, where Lazarus is, he's resuscitated, right? He's brought back to life again. But Jesus is the first fruits of our resurrection. And through ample post-resurrection appearances, he gave convincing proofs that he was alive, and the body was never shown again, in the sense that it was dead. It was only that he appeared alive, and nobody could bring, as skeptics, his body still dead to bear. And so for me, when I come into situations like that, that's good enough for me. I mean, frankly, I think Jesus, if he wanted to, he could have, after the beating he incurred in the cross, he could have been put in the tomb by sunset after what went down on the day of it. Obviously, we know he died in the 9th hour. If he would have wanted to, I don't think it would have changed a bit had he rose on the first day. From the standpoint, he didn't need to go 3 days to prove that he was dead. He went 3 days because that was how he planned it out.
It's not like the stone was so heavy that it took him 3 days to roll it away or anything like that either. Tony, any thoughts?
Right. Definitely. I think in fulfillment of prophecy, Jesus said it when he was alive, as Jonah was in the belly of the great fish 3 days and 3 nights, so must the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. So, with that, he had to fulfill that or he lied. And we know 12:23, I think, or 23:12 of Numbers said, God is not a man that he should lie. Mm-hmm. So definitely it was in fulfillment of prophecy, and that's why it could have been, you're right, he could have got up after the first day. So that's one of those things that I believe that Jesus, did it that way. And there was some Jewish traditions that said that the spirit of a person hovered around the body for 3 days. And then after that time, then a person is really considered dead. But, that's just Jewish traditions.
Yeah. John, thanks for your phone call today on Pastor's Perspective. Tracy called back, so let's find out what Tracy wants to know. Welcome to Pastor's Perspective, Tracy.
Hi, I'm sorry about that. I got disconnected. I was in a bad spot.
It happens.
My question is, it sounds like a scary verse to me, but I want to know your perspective on it, on what it means. It's in Matthew 7. I believe it starts at verse 19. I was on the road. I was trying to look it up, and I had to be very careful. But it talks about the narrow gate, and when Christians go to him and say, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we cast out demons in your name? And he will say to them,
I never knew you.
Get out of my way. I never knew you, you evildoers of iniquity. I want to know, who does that apply to?
Now, Tracy, you say that this verse is scary. Why does this verse scare you?
It doesn't scare me because I am a Christian and I am a believer. It's just, I want to know what it means. Okay. I want to know because I've had someone else ask me that question, and I'm like, I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, but I don't know. But I just want to know, like, if you're a Christian, even though you sin, we live in a fallen world. We all know that. We go to God. We ask for forgiveness, and that's why he sent his son. I know all that. I've been a Christian for a long time. But I have,
But why would he say, I never knew you, instead of, I've forgiven your sins, welcome to heaven? Brian, what would you say to Tracy?
Well, Tracy, this is, it's one of those verses that kind of shakes us up a little bit and makes us think that we need to be serious. And that's what Jesus is talking about here. He's talking about a real commitment. So he's talking to people who he says, depart from me, you evildoers. I never knew you. So whatever their profession is, whatever they're claiming to have done, it's illegitimate. The reality is they're not following the Lord. So this is not a Christian who stumbles here and there along the path. This is a hypocrite. This is a fake believer who, and it could even refer to people in church leadership. You think of those who have led churches or ministries who have claimed all of these grandiose things that they've done for God, but the reality is they have not really in their own personal lives lived for God at all. And
you think he could be referring to the religious leaders, the Pharisees and the Sadducees?
I think
all they claim?
I think it definitely has application to them. But I mean, I think it's broader than that as well. I think it's the individual person. But I think it's just a reminder to us that it's not about saying, because that's what they're doing. They're saying, didn't we do this and didn't we do that? But Jesus says, I never knew you. And the mark of that was they practiced evil. They continued to live in willful sin.
Yeah.
And somebody listening might say, well, how do I know I'm not one of those fake, hypocritical Christians? But you pretty much just answered it.
Yeah, just, if you're faking it, God knows you're faking it, and you need to stop and just say, Lord, forgive me. I want to be serious and really walk with you.
Yeah.
So.
Tracy, thanks for your phone call. That's all the time we have on today's program, but we'll be back tomorrow between 3 and 4 p.m. Pacific time. Today's episode will be archived on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify in just a little bit. You can watch it all over again, especially the beginning when Tony surprised Pastor Brian in the studio. That was a lot of fun, so check that out. Good night, you guys. Thanks so much for listening to Pastor's Perspective, sponsored by Calvary Chapel, Costa Mesa.